U5 Entertainment, U5 Worldwide, giving thanks to the fans and the people that support us. U5, we did it.
All right, what's going on? What's up? What's up? What's up? Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to U5 News Flash. This is Rated U5. Hope you all doing well tonight. And we've got a nice treat for you tonight. We've got a great interview coming up here. I'm going to bring them on just in a sec. And I just wanted to get you prepped up for this interview. This outstanding artist. And this is way back in the days. I'd say, gosh, it had to be the late 80s, I would say, with this gentleman I'm about to bring on. And he goes by the name of Reps, R-E-P-S. As a matter of fact, I'm going to show just a couple of pieces of his work, just for your edification, whatnot. He's got a really, really nice style, sharp, crisp, almost like pop art with. And so you've seen his work extensively from New York all the way out to where he's at now, and even his shirts as well. So without further ado, let me bring on Reps. What's going on there, Reps? How are you?
Hey, what's going on, player? Not much.
Oh, doing well, doing well. We're just glad to go and have you on here. And for those who have never heard of you or seen you before, maybe they've known of your name or seen your tags or your artwork and your style. State your name and what crews that you represent or lead.
Well, my name is the RobTheReps. Crews I'm down with like 156, TM7, TMR, Lords of Brooklyn, AMK, U5, a couple other squads, on TCN.
So from
those crews.
So that's a whole long list of crews there. So from those crews, which were the first ones that you were down with, actually? Maybe the first three.
The first three crews I was down with was AMK, WR, and NOK.
All right. And so for those out there that have never heard of those crews, WR stood for Writer's Revenge. I think that was, I'm not certain. I know there's a whole issue going on as far as like who's running the show with WR, but I remember seeing it up with Kid Power KP. And that's back in the days when he used to be tagging up Bushwick along with Dorf, DF, and others. So yeah, Writer's Revenge, AMK, Almighty Kings.
Yeah, our Master Killers.
And NOK stood for what?
Nation of Kings.
Nation of Kings.
Yeah, the Williamsburg. It started it with them in Williamsburg.
Okay, yeah. Williamsburg.
Yeah. I lived in Williamsburg for a while, and I lived in Bushwick for a while. I moved around.
Now, so with those three crews, do you have any ties that still remain with NOK, with AMK, with WR?
With AMK and NOK, yeah. I'm AMK for life. I grew up with those guys. When I was a kid, they used to always have my back. NOK, my man Choco and Domain. Choco passed away not so long ago, but Domain and Choco, they used to influence me a lot.
Choco.
And then, I bummed a lot with the AMK guys because we grew up on the same block.
Right. AMK, I vaguely recall that crew.
Yeah, the same, that thing with WR is still going on right now. I respect all of them, so
I hope it gets
quoted. Yeah, facts. I don't even know how to even mention or talk about it when people ask me.
Yeah, gotcha. I did my thing back in the late 80s, quite frankly. I started gravitating more towards it in the I say early to mid '80s, only because my brother, would tag up um, the block and even in the house and be scribbling his name all over the place, whatnot. But let's talk about, RobTheReps. So um, obviously, Rob being like, a portion of your first name, I suppose,
Yeah.
and reps.
So the
Um,
situation is that, as graff evolves, and there's a lot of people with the same name. So I separated myself. Uh, people ask me who was first. I don't even care about who's first, who's last. I respect everybody, you know what I mean? I just
but
separated my name. My son's real name is Reps, you know what I mean? I grew
so
up
how
with
did
the
you
name.
get it? How
Go
did
ahead.
you get involved with graffiti to begin with? Like, what sparked you to even get involved with graff?
Well, first of all, I used to be with this dude called Ken's, my cousin Nep, and Knock. When we were kids, we used to go bomb on the projects with little tester cans. And my boy Nico, he used to write Nas. And then, it started actually, the first time I ever thought about graff was when I was coming from Puerto Rico to New York, and we were driving up Myrtle Avenue, and the Kentucky Fried Chicken had a Jaws and a Bester
Oh,
tag on it. And that was the first time I was like, what the hell is that? But then, I have family members that wrote that lived in New York that I found out, as we moved in. And but we were just kids with little tester cans, and that's how we really started. And then, the guys from AMK, I realized they were taggers too, and they put me on into a whole different level about it and tried to school me a little. I had no clue, but I was more young minded when I met them dudes. But then
so now
I
that
got better.
Kentucky Fried Chicken you're talking about, is that the infamous one that was on Bushwick Avenue and Myrtle?
Yeah, the Bushwick and Murder one. We were coming from my aunt's grave. It was trippy. That was the
What's
first two
funny?
names I recognized.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
tell you what, that used to be before it was a Kentucky Fried Chicken. That block right there on the corner from it, where it used to be, that's Ditmar Street, Ditmars. It's only one street long. That one block. That's it. It's Ditmar Street. I grew up on that block right there on the corner, right at the end there, 36 Ditmar Street. That's where I grew up, probably from like 1970 to 1980. And before there was a Kentucky Fried Chicken there, it used to be an old gas station that had been closed down for a while. So me and my brother used to go and walk along the side of the building. We had like a cement ledge or wall, and we walk all the way over and just do some climbing. We're kids, we're young, and
yeah,
that gas station that after the blizzard, we had the blizzard of like 77 or 78. They had a big blizzard come through. That whole place was just like maybe 3 or 4 feet of snow. You couldn't see anything. I mean, it was a blizzard. Everything was on lock. Probably the biggest blizzard that the Eastern Coast had up until that point, and probably even since then. So it's interesting. Everyone talks about the Kentucky Fried Chicken. I remember even before there was a Kentucky Fried Chicken there. But that's a little bit of a way still from your neck in the woods down in the south side. That's maybe you got
I'm from Grand
Williamsburg.
Street.
Yeah, after Grand Street, you got Williamsburg there, and
Yeah,
then
Grand Street and Bushwick. But we used to live right by Eastern District. We moved around a few for a little while. We lived up that Montrose too.
yeah. So the graph scene back in the days, who did you see up back in the late '80s or even the early '80s to the late '80s in the south side of Brooklyn, back by the Tenite projects and the Borinka projects and the Bushwick projects, all the south side. Who was up during that period?
Well, AMK was up around that area, but we also had from AMK, Man, Con, and MV, they used to get up a lot in the neighborhood. They used to go out of the neighborhood too. But the first people that I recognize that I know, but they were like AD Nice, BBK, BETLV, a lot of those dudes from DMC. Um, they used to be Mellow from the South Side. I used to see him up, MELOE. Um, you know, Stacks YO, but that was just the beginning of him, you know, when he used to
Yeah.
bomb in the
Yes,
neighborhood.
yes. I remember
Tech
his
MOB, Arion,
carry
yeah,
on, bro.
you know, I used to paint with those guys, Um, if you walk towards Bushwick, KATKK, Kabubi, Rim, Domain, you used to see them up at PG, TPA, um,
Was
early 80s.
Did you see Ice up there? Ice LSD crew?
Well, there was ice. So this was crazy because we had an ice in our neighborhood. But yeah, I met Ice LSD a long time ago too. But yeah, he was up too a lot.
Yeah.
You know who else you would see that used to tag up in our neighborhood was early 80s. There used to be like there was this guy called Rec TVC. KP was up all over Metropolitan Avenue. So was AT.
Yeah.
They used to go walk up and down and bomb Metro a lot in the daytime. And it just changed because there was a lot of people from the projects that used to write too, like I think it was Hez and Pez. There was this other dude that used to like from the south side. There used to be, like that guy Milk.
Okay, Milk, right.
And then but there was other dudes that wasn't even from our neighborhood that would, come to the neighborhood and catch ups, that dudes from Queens.
What about Kano? I used to see Kano up a lot there too.
Oh yeah, Kano was up with that Fupito too. Yeah, but I didn't see him. He wasn't up a lot in my neighborhood. He was up more down towards Bushwick, the
Hmm,
Ghost Rider.
right. And what about so during that period there weren't too many graph wars up until maybe 87, 88. I know at one point we were involved, U5 crew, was involved with a war between us and AMK and NOK, and a lot of other crews got looped in. It was really, really crazy. Um, but other than that, what other graffiti wars were like prominent? Because other than that, I didn't really see too much graffiti wars. I don't know whether there was any wars between like Fuck Crew and all these others. By
AMK had beef a lot of crews. Those dudes didn't play, man.
yeah, they
Yeah,
had, they had a lot
yeah,
of beef. Huh?
they didn't give a fuck. They handle that.
Didn't they have a shop over there on I would like to say by Morgan Avenue. There was a McDonald's by there on Myrtle Avenue and going towards the BQE. Like if you take what
Only
is that?
McDonald's I know is the one on Grand Street by us.
Yeah, there's a McDonald's over there. And there was also like this auto parts store by Morgan Avenue in that area, or getting up the BQ on Morgan Avenue.
Oh, towards Greenpoint.
Yeah, right, right. I think there was a shop or something. I was told that someone from AMK had a shop, or that was like their main hangout, whatnot.
I don't know. They used to chill in the basement. I didn't hang out with them a lot at first. We got older, we can't clue. You know what I mean? When we was younger, they were bad beef. I tell them, you know what I mean? They handle that shit. Yeah, I had beef with some dude in Eastern District, and that fool con man and we just walked up in the school and slapped the shit out of him.
Hmm.
Shit
Talking about
happened in
District,
49 too.
Eastern District, right?
Yeah, ED.
Yeah, you do. Is that school still open? I heard they turned it into some sort of satellite school or something where they
Yeah,
closed.
it's got like 4 different schools in it. My mom used to work there, so yo,
Mhm.
matter of fact, having my mom work in that place, man, that saved my ass man times. And I was a kid, you know what I mean? Because I live right up the block, so I just dip out the side door. Cause I didn't, coming from Puerto Rico, we never had problems. There was never fights. Everything was cool. And then coming to New York, shit was violent as hell.
What part of Puerto Rico were you coming from, and what year?
Jauco, it was 86. I started
86.
tagging in 87, 88 with the
All
guys
right,
in the
because I went to Puerto Rico with GA to Caguas, and we rocked a big wall, big piece over there in Puerto Rico in 1988. And it was a huge wall. It had to be I say 10 feet tall, and it was like 500 feet long. It was the whole block. It was
You
for a
guys
grocery
did it?
store, and it came out in the newspaper. It was like a big deal because they had never seen anything like that. And I think it was the name of the grocery store, or I know it definitely said La Isla because we had a big, like the profile of a big a man, a profile, and his hand coming out like this, and then it said La Isla, and then at the end we did a big piece with GA and RTD. And that was a big news. It came out in the newspaper. It was like a big thing back in 1988. Then
Yeah.
we're doing our thing over there in Caguas, Puerto Rico. I figured maybe it's something you would have known of if you were out there. So, what, as far as the graph is concerned, what are some of the notable graffiti magazines? Maybe you've been in. I'm pretty sure you probably appeared in a lot of graffiti magazines. Any of them that kind of stick out that you really enjoyed as far as the graph mags are concerned? And they've changed so much from like the 80s
Yeah,
when
I
G
know.
out, with his graph news magazines. I got a few issues over here with the original graph news that we had back in the days. And we used to do these black and white magazines and whatnot,
Yeah, that's what's up.
and sold these in different locations. But at some point, we went and got the color ones going. But any graph news or any graph magazines, rather, that you were in, or what do you think about the graph magazines in general?
I don't even buy them anymore. When I first moved to Colorado in the early 2000s, I used to come on a few of them, some European ones. That dude Cope used to bless our pictures and that, so people used to put them in mags, but I never really buy them.
Mm,
I'm in a couple of books too, even in Cope's first book, the Vandal Squad book, and a couple of other ones that came out. I have
yeah.
a couple of pieces in it, and
Did you get yourself a copy of this? All
oh yeah, I read the book. You
right.
gave it to me years ago.
Yeah, I'm working on the second part to that, and with everything I've been doing with my professional life, I've been kind of
Minnie and
dragging
Kay
on it.
talks about the book.
But it's gonna be out. Second part is gonna be out very soon.
That's what's
Um,
up.
So I'm gonna go and just I'm gonna say a few names, and when I say the names of these graffiti writers, just like a couple words, a description about them. If you know about their art, or if you don't know about their art, or you've written with them, or if you've had war with them, or whatever, just a couple words, if you have any, on some of these graffiti artists. So I'll start off with, how about Famer,
Yeah, I met Feynman when I was younger. He lived in the projects.
Devise,
Nah, I never met him.
Audi,
Oh yeah, he's one of my top 10 in my childhood days.
Tesk,
One of my favorite writers when I was a kid too.
OE,
I met him plenty of times.
Tracy 168,
Yeah, I met him plenty.
Webb.
Which one?
Well, there's two, right?
65?
113. Do
Well,
you
there's
know
one.
either of them?
I know Webb William. I don't know the other guy.
Okay. What do you think about Webb's artwork?
He's one of my favorite writers. Actually, one of the dudes that influenced me growing
Wow.
up too.
How about Baby 168?
I've never met him, but he's one of my favorite writers too. I like his history. A lot of people still talk about him.
Yeah. Domain,
One of my favorite people in the whole world. Put me on to Graff.
CQ,
Don't know who that is.
Stacks,
Stax YO, yeah. He's one of the first kids I ever painted with growing up. He got really famous in 91. Uh, but he's cool.
Kev.
TM7?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know him, but I cheer him as a friend on Flash. I'm TM7 too, so he definitely gets props from me.
How about Taki?
I know Taki personally. He came out here, did a show, and we hanged out. He's definitely one of my favorite peoples too.
You
Humble as hell.
know, back in the days, before the internet, before all that was out, you know, you ever use those microfiche readers?
Yeah.
Microfiche. I came across this guy Taki on a microfiche. I was so intrigued about, you know, how they were covering Taki 183, and I was learning about following all that was going on with him going to the courts for scribbling his name all over the place. And but bam, I'm probably dating myself that I use microfiche reader to go and look up these old newspapers with the news clippings. How about Duster?
Definitely one of my favorite writers. Never met him though, but he's cool.
Fogs?
He's as a bomber, he's one of my top 10. I got my
RD?
501. RD,
RD?
yeah, never met him.
JA?
Met him a few times.
Ghost?
Yeah, he's cool. He's definitely an OG. He's on my top 10.
FN?
FNGTF. Yeah,
Yes.
he's a good friend of mine. Got my love for that dude.
Yeah, tell Jeff I said what's up. Beefer?
One of my favorite writers too. He's actually doing good things nowadays. I've seen.
Easy?
He's cool. I met him once.
Lee?
I met Lee in the past. Went to one of his art shows. He's cool.
Jaws?
Jazz is probably the reason why I write graffiti. Rest in peace. I actually got to
Now
paint with him
we got
too.
to the source. Now we know the reason, huh?
Yeah, he's probably one of my favorite. Well, he's probably my number one of all graffiti history.
Hmm.
I met him in the past, buddy. Probably dopest dude he could ever meet. I met him with Domain.
How about Spot?
Know of him. He's dope. I don't really know him like that though, but
Show? SHOW?
never met him. But you definitely know he's one of our heroes from my neighborhood. So man, respect for him. Rest in peace.
DG?
Yeah, DG's definitely on my top three. He's sure I have a DG throwy on my arm. He passed away. He's a good dude. Him and Kite was really close, and I used to get to hang out with him a lot when he was out here. Mad respect for him.
Sane?
I like Sane. I like his brother's stuff too. Their stuff is dope.
And how about Stack?
Jack FUA.
FUA from up above.
Yeah, I met him with Muse. He's dope. My boy RT talks a lot about him. I know he's a Bushwick dude too, so respect for that.
So any aside from the magazines, what about books? Any graffiti books you thumbed through or came across and said, this is pretty interesting?
Yeah, I like anything Chino puts out. I like everything Cat pulls out. I collect them all. Books I collect. I don't really care about mags.
Mm.
Um, my favorite one is that graffiti letters book, and you know, I like some of those. Like I like the European mags. They're like books. They come out.
Did you get a copy of that graffiti book that is supposed to resemble a black book?
The one Chino did.
I've got one on my shelf. I'm not gonna pull away from here, but it's a black. It looks like a black book, but it's actually
It has a bunch of writing on it, right? Yeah, yeah. I think that's one of my favorite books too.
What about the favorite spots? What were some of your favorite spots to go and tag or do a piece?
I like painting trains. So, when I lived
Yeah.
in New York, I used to find spots on Metropolitan Avenue that my shit used to get ragged a lot. I had a lot of beef growing up, but when I first started, but then I started painting in the Bronx. So I'm gonna have to say the Bronx was one of my favorite places to paint with. Yeah, back then that was mostly all the walls were anyway. I painted a lot of walls in Queensbridge too with Muse Walnuts,
Hmm.
and he used to bring a bunch of us together like Demo, Cope. Doss, a lot of people. My boy Jazz. We used to go over there and paint a lot. So I like Queens a lot with those guys.
What about how about one of the scariest bombing stories that you have? Any periods in which you had like some really, really crazy stuff go down when you're out there writing? Any scary moments?
Oh yeah, me and Nep TCH. We used to go to Queens a lot and bomb. When we were younger. One day we got ran up on like 50 heads. And we had to dip out of there. And
Oh,
I don't even know how we got away with that one, but I guess they didn't know their neighborhood as well as we got away. You know what I mean? But it was deep though. They're throwing
word,
bottles at us and everything. And I'm pretty sure it was over me. 'Cause I'm the one that carries the beef in those days.
any upcoming projects? Like right now, you're in Colorado. What's do you prefer? What's the environment for graffiti writers in Colorado?
There's a lot of great piecers out here. I mean, there's a lot of bombing here too. Colorado's crazy because it's got a mix of East Coast and West Coast. You got Chicago heads, you got New York heads, Connecticut, and you got LA, Phoenix. You have a lot of involvement here. Out here, the crews are more, they stick together. Kind of like a U5 used to be. You know what I mean? There's a crew out here, RTD. They got the IMOK guys, they got DF. They all just sticks in their own groups.
That's
TKO.
interesting because you bring up that RTD crew. I didn't realize they were out there in Colorado.
That's our bus line out here too. It's called
Really?
RTD. Yeah, I mean, they're pretty popular. They got stuff. Everybody that I've met from the past, they all sick. They all got skills.
Wow.
I don't really mess with the graph heads from out here. I paint by myself now.
Hmm. Is you prefer that or you just don't want to gravitate towards anyone? You're a loner.
I don't know. My life's changed since I moved here. Money wise, everything. My family. My girlfriend lives across, in the East Coast. I live out here. I work a lot. You know what I mean? So when I paint, I go to yards. If you're not involved with people, you don't have beef. When I first moved here, I tried to bring that KD crew out here, and people acting stupid. You know what I mean? The people in my crew that they don't get it. And I got myself into all this drama with fools that was supposed to be cool.
Hmm.
And sometimes I get into fights with people. I'm not that young anymore to be doing that dumb shit. So I'd rather just paint. I have crew members that come here and paint with me.
Yeah.
I have my boy Kite TMR. Then whenever we together, we paint. He brings friends. That's how I met Ghost and those guys. Kite Kite has influenced me with other stuff. I paint pretty good, so when I teach people how to do stuff that I know how to do, we click a little and shit. I ain't no sucker, so if niggas want beef, I'm on a whole different level too. I just don't like the drama. But if fools want to put hands up, I put my hands on anybody. I don't really care.
Hmm.
But I'm not about that anymore. Growing up in Brooklyn was different. I came out here and people still acting silly, so I'd rather be by myself now.
Yeah, it reminds me of a discussion I had with GA, kind of along those lines, where you got, if you're by yourself, then you just have to worry about yourself. You not have to worry about anything else, but and stay more or less a loner.
See,
So, so who's king out there then?
that's a lot of it's it changes. There's crews out here, the West Coast players like TKO, the RTD guys. There's a
Uh,
couple of other crews that just, young kids that are killing it, like this guy Reject that, and then this other dude, one of the most noticeable writers out here is this dude Voice. Since I moved here, it's changed a lot. And I paint with like these breakers, fiends, good dude and stuff, it's always showing me love. Got the same last name, so dad shows me love. Draft to me is different. It's about friendship with the people I hang with. I had
yeah.
this one dude in my crew, and I helped him out. He got ignorant, goes behind my back, talk about me to other people and shit. But when he sees me, he has no strength. The dude got drunk once and left me this messed up message. So I just called him and let him know. I was like, yo, homie, delete my number because next time you leave me one of those, I'm gonna put it on you. You know what I mean? Like I'm not even gonna talk about it. I don't care if your wife, dude, people don't get it. Like that stuff. it's so past tense and stuff. I grew up messed up, you know what I mean? Like my family was shitty to me. Everybody was shitty to me at one time. I had to earn my respect, you know what I mean? So I take life a lot more serious than people do and shit.
Yeah.
Um, I had three dudes when I was a kid. Ice from my neighborhood, 187. Cash, that was part of AMK, you know what I mean? And AQ. Those three brothers and shit, I'm gonna have to say, I've never met people like those three dudes in my life. It has nothing to do with like my friends, because I have a lot of amazing friends and shit. But those
Yeah.
three dudes when I was a kid was the world to me, you know what I mean? I didn't want to live half of the time. Shit was so fucked up. And those three dudes got me through life, you know what I mean? A lot of people don't understand how that works, but when your whole family's shitty, everybody want to be shitty. And I know I got myself involved in all that shit with the whole beefing and graff. I had no clue what I was doing and shit. I ran my mouth 100 pounds wet, you know what I mean? Like niggas is like, whatever, whatever. But it changed. Like when you get older now and shit, and you see people acting like that, because I used to act like that. I don't want to be a part of that no more unless I have to handle it. Because you know I do. I have no shame. I'm a man. I'm Puerto Rican. If I had to show off what I got it. You know what I mean? I don't give a fuck about none of that shit because I don't like drama. I never even realized how much drama was going around my life until I focused on different shit. You know what I mean? Like
You know,
learning how to paint better. You know what I mean?
right. That sort of mentality that you have and that the disposition you have, it's the same. I resonate. It resonates with me because that's what we wanted to do. U5 crew when we were up coming up in Bushwick, all we wanted to do was just write graffiti. Because in Bushwick, back in those days, you only had a few choices. Number one, you were selling drugs, you were on drugs, you were with a gang robbing and hurting people, or you were a graffiti artist. Those are the four choices that we had, other than being dead or being locked up. And
Yeah,
for us, we just gravitated towards art, you know. And even with that, you know, we drew a lot of drama and issues when we didn't want it. You know, we didn't want all those problems. But I guess it's all part of the game. It's all part of what it means to be a graffiti artist, especially growing up in places like Bushwick, Brooklyn, or even the South Side or East New York or whatnot.
yeah, the
Um,
hood's the hood.
what about what do you think Graph needs right now? Then, I mean, you seeing how Graph has morphed and evolved in the last couple decades, quite frankly. And you know, you can go online, you see people showing others how to use a spray can and how to do the letters, and I mean, it's everything is just handed to you like on a silver platter these days. Like there's very very little imagination. So what do you think? What do you think Graph needs at this point? You think we're done? We're toast. The old style graffiti is a thing of the past.
Yeah, the graphics changed, man. I liked it when the raw shit. I miss that stuff. Like the meeting people on the streets, the swapping photos. Before the internet ruined graph.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
I met so many people back then. Just swapping photos, mailing each other packages and shit.
Mm.
Getting on a plane and physically meeting the fool without this internet relationship. I miss that part. You know, what's crazy about it is like um, humble graffiti writers and shit get bad rep for that. You know what I mean? Because back then nobody was humble, but they were glad to meet. See what I'm
Mm.
saying? We had this little gutter, back then. You remember, it was different. Like people cocky. I never understood on that. When I got dope and shit. And I'll mention GA on this because he's one of the dudes that see me, be involved. And that fool, like the other day, told me like, "Yo, you came a long way," give me mad respect. It's crazy how I met GA. We were having beef with some dude, and he saved our butts. You know what I mean? That
Mm.
shit had nothing to do with Graph. And on the years, that keep me running into him,
Right.
and I talk to him and all that stuff. But yo, when a person like King give me props and shit, it's respect because that dude was before me, so he knows what I'm about. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's what I like about Graph.
I didn't, for myself personally, I mean, it was very, very, there weren't many instances where we crossed paths, whatnot, especially after the 90s, because by that time I bounced. I was in the military. spent decades in the military. And so when I started kind of peering into what was going on when internet broke back in the 90s, and then started looking online, and there were a lot of blogs out there, and MySpace was the popular thing, and before Facebook. And I started seeing some of your pieces. I'm like, yo, like I've never seen your throwies. I don't remember your tags much, but your pieces, yeah, I saw those a lot.
Is
And
it
I was like,
noticeable?
man, this is the same guy. I was like, man, this is some good stuff, man. And I said, you know what? If I ever go and put together a darn show, then I'm gonna have this guy Reps on here, because I think that your art is extraordinary. It's really, really, the colors that you use, the style that you have, it's almost like so unorthodox when you look at it, man. But it's so, you've got a really, really good style. And
Yeah.
what if you can leave anything like a legacy, or if there's something that you want to leave to the culture, as hip hop culture, where graffiti is one of the elements of hip hop, what would that be? What would you like to go and say to those out there that are coming across this video and say, man, what's this all about? Who's this reps guy? And then see your artwork and like, damn, man, that's some fire right there. What would you like to say to these folks?
All right. My man Jive, when I met him, he he taught me how to use cans like paint. You know what I mean? I had letters. I just didn't have the can control like I should. And the only thing he ever told me is like, don't be cocky after this. I just tell people not to be cocky. Stay humble.
Mm.
There's always gonna be one better than you. You know what I mean? I
Right.
just believe in being humble now. You know what I mean? But that was one of the most coolest things somebody's ever taught me. And he's one of the reasons I paint the way I paint now. There's this dude
Job.
named Kurz that I watch him paint. He's from up in the Bronx, up there, Mount Vernon, whatever. And he's my favorite piecer. Like, so I always like felt for that UW, and so I got into it, and then there's that Demo from Jersey that I watch him like evolve. Like I don't know if you ever heard of him, but this dude has this like wicked style, and I can never like mimic something he would do, but I learned how to change and add stuff to make it look a little different. You know what I mean? And I just tell people to be humble and shit because I made a mistake, then I got a little better, and I thought I was cool. Nothing cool about nothing, unless it pays your bills. So
And speaking of which, I mean, are you making any money from your artwork? Have you put it on
I
shirts?
did for a while, my handwriting and stuff. I still sell canvases. I
Okay.
mean, I make pretty decent money when I do cool stuff. I mean, yeah, life is crazy for me because I love to paint, but not for the same reasons other people do.
Hmm.
When you're young and graffiti's all you have. So I'm homeless, catching tags everywhere. That's how I started getting up. I had enemies, so those three young kids would break night, hang out with me, and catch tags. So I started teaching them to do the stuff I did. None of us write the same. Everybody has their own flow. Cash has his own thing. There's people, and these are people that people won't ever give recognition to them. Like
Uh,
Min and B and Khan, they got a lot of recognition in the past and they deserve it. But those three little brothers and shit, they deserve it. My boy Eyesore deserves a lot of recognition because I met that kid on some, he was military too. And I met him on some missions and his evolution is amazing. He goes through stuff and he goes and paints. That's the same reason I paint. You know what I mean?
right.
My man Jive called me one day and it ended up being like my birthday week and one of my best pieces ever because at that time, that's the best thing that I could show people was my letters. Like
Hmm.
I don't paint to be famous. I don't paint. I don't even understand how that even works anymore because the internet makes you famous. They make toys famous. You got old school niggas that never did shit because they're on the internet now. They're famous. You know what I mean?
They
Fucking
never
hang,
took a
holding on
plane,
each other. Oh my god, we're the
went
crew.
to a yard. They never went to a layup. They never hit a train.
A lot of people been locked up, so it's not their fault either. I'm just saying like the people just live off the internet instead of putting in work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I put in work. I got better. You know what I mean? Some people stay in the past and they don't get better. I don't know. You know what I mean? I got better because people like you know, GA, RT, that show me love, Kite, that make me want to do more. You know what I mean? Like people like it has nothing to do with Cruz with me. It has nothing ever had to do with Cruz. I never care about none of that shit. I just wanted to have people so I could paint with and I could evolve
I,
with, you know.
I
It
hear you.
expands my brain. Your Kite, and I was painting for a few years, you know, and he evolved. Yo, dude got amazing, you know. When I started with Jive, Jive was way ahead of me, and then he helped me out, and I got better, you know. So then when I started meeting all these people from the Bronx, and they start showing me love, like GA from back home, ATKK, you know, all these dudes that I grew up looking up to, giving
Right.
me props. Yeah, that shit feels good because I don't really care about the other stuff that other people care about. You know what I care about is putting my son to sleep, make sure my son is next to me. That's what I really care about. You know what I mean? Graff to me, it's more like a relaxation and shit. It's like a break from my real life. You know, some people actually live Graff.
Hmm.
You know, I don't. You know, when I was younger, it's all I had, so it was a lot different. You know.
Yeah, I've always had, because of my responsibilities and the military, I've always had to have that as kind of like a side thing, maybe like a hobby or whatnot. And
But
then
even when you was overseas, you're doing little stuff over there. I've
yeah,
seen it.
I did, but a lot of it mostly was, when DG died or when we have folks, pass away, and I'm in Rwanda, and I can't just fly out and say, okay, well, let me leave and pay my respects. So what could you do but just rock a piece? That's what I did. I rock pieces for folks wherever I
Yeah,
was. I'd
that's
be
what's
in
up.
Cambodia, I'd be in Thailand, Myanmar, just out there rocking walls and whatnot. But Sony and Slick, when they passed away, that was a big hit on U5, and we just had to find our ways and see what are we going to do with this, and the internet wasn't around just yet, and we figured with U5, I wanted to continue their legacy by keeping their names alive with the company that I started, the entertainment company, U5 Enterprises. But but back to you. Is there any any shout outs you want to go and send off to folks that are catching this broadcast? And also, how can people reach you? Reach you on Facebook or Instagram or something like that? And any future projects you have?
Um, I went to wait till after Christmas. I'm back to be doing shirts and stickers again. I took a break because a lot of weird shit happened in the last few years, you know. Um, but I'm gonna start painting again more often. Being a single dad takes away from that, you know. My son's only 12, so I don't like leaving him alone too long. And
Is
but
is he gonna
yeah,
get
I'm gonna
involved?
start.
Is he gonna get involved in art, graffiti, or anything otherwise?
Yeah, no, I always involve in art, and just I make a lot of stickers for people and myself,
Hmm.
and
No,
I
but your
paint.
son, your son, are you intending to have him follow your
He's a music guy. All my kids are about music, you know.
music? Okay.
Yeah, little rockers. I have a stepson that thinks he's a DJ. He's killing it, you know.
All right. Yeah, he's got his niche. Got to start him with a young, like they say.
Yeah, dude. I know, like it's crazy, but a lot of people die in the last few years, you know. So I had NepTCA, Choco Loco, Arion. A lot of people don't even know my history. Most people and shit, because I moved away. But Arion was a really good friend of mine since I was a kid. You know, like a lot of people don't think, and like only people like us will never forget about a name like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
And
like
he used to live on this block, and it was Arion Place.
Arion Place, yeah, with Tech MOB, same block. Yeah, yeah, that's so
Yeah,
amazing. But
yeah,
that
right
dude,
by Tech
yeah,
MOB. Shout out to
I,
Tech MOB out there in
yeah,
Florida.
Tech has a lot of respect for me when we were younger and stuff. Cause You know, he moved away after a while, but
Yeah.
definitely had a lot of balls, that little brother. He was
Yeah.
doing it, climbing and all that stuff. But you know, so graph has changed a lot for me because you know a lot of people have history with people, and all I have is childhood with people. You know what I mean? Because I moved that way out here in Colorado, and I didn't even move out here for graph. I moved out here because shit hit the fan. The one person that had my back lived here, so I moved here. You know. Then and you know along the way, you know, graph is one of my favorite things. So I started painting. I met some good dudes. I met some bad dudes. I made some good decisions, some bad ones. You know.
Yeah.
I got paid. I went broke. You know, it all happens. You know. But nothing is ever like the homies from our childhood.
Yeah.
You know.
Same here.
You know what I mean? So if I shout out anybody, man, it'll be all those that are gone right now, like Nep, Choco Loco, Arion, Checo. You know,
Check
all
all that.
those. You know, that's who I would like to shout out. You know, my family. You know, my lady. You know, people that physically have my back, and then I miss so much. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I could never get that back. You know, living so far away, you could watch all these people mourn them and shit, but they don't see what I saw. You know what I mean? I
Right.
saw the beginning. I saw the character. I saw the dude that became that man. You know what I mean? You know, a lot of people like shout him out. You know, my cousin Nep is really famous and shit, but he's famous with the heart. He's not famous about graph. You know, he got up and did everything, but he was so humble. And I wish I was like him when I was younger. You know?
Yeah, I remember the name Nap. Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
good dude, man. Choco Loco, good dude. You know? Yeah, I'm gonna have to even say Stacks Fire, a good dude. You know, we have our difference, but that's an amazing dude. Growing up and shit, you know, I overcame a lot of the stupidities growing up. My boy ISO Jazz, you know, those guys always had my back. Those three young kids that I told you about earlier,
Right.
got me AMK niggas, man, for life, you know. Yeah, I've been through hell. Those guys that got me out of it, put me in it. Those guys are my friends for life, you know. Rest in peace, Khan. A good, great dude, man. That dude was the man since I was a kid. Never feared anyone, but he really was humble.
Wow.
You know, he never even act like a thug. That's what I liked about them dudes. You know, I remember I got into a beef once and Min was there, he stopped it and shit, walked me the other way, got me the fuck out of that situation. And I don't even know how I get home sometimes in those days, but you know, I don't even know how to talk shit about people no more. Even people I dislike, I try to be their friend now because I don't have that
Yeah.
animosity in me no more.
We grow up and we get beyond that because now there's other things that are important in our lives, our family, our own futures, our professional, careers or jobs or whatever. We're all thinking about the time we have before us. Some of us have less time before us than behind us. So you never know. We just gotta be thankful for what we have and
Oh,
try not to burn too many
I'm
bridges
grateful for
along the way.
everything. My Lord is good, man.
Yeah.
You know, I took something that I sucked at and made it good. I did a lot of things, y'all. I saved my own life. You know, I used to kind of say I was self-made, but now that I think about it, with all these people in my life, I'm grateful I had them fools too. You know what I mean? Yeah, I gotta tell you, man, Tech. I gotta tell you, all those guys from back in the days, man. There was definitely some days, you know, I
Yeah.
felt alone in some weird ass way. Some one of them dudes up here, Arion, on the corner. He like, yo, are you alright? You need me to walk you home? The dude walked me home, like,
Yeah.
you know, I didn't even know him like that, but he knew me and made he know I had problems. You walk with me and shit, you know,
Right.
stuff like that. I miss, you know what I mean? People don't know that though. You know, I got into a beef once, and then I got Arian was standing right next to me. He hit the dude before I did. You know
You
what I
see,
mean?
that's the thing, what you touch upon right now, stories like that, the stories that people don't hear about, the stuff that's in the background, the back of the background, that all those stories, all those experiences that you have that make you you, what is here and present now. Because I'm personally built from all my past. It drives a lot of what I've accomplished in my own personal life, and it
Uh,
still drives me to it still drives me to this day. Quite frankly, it's things that you just can't let go, and you just cannot escape either. But I want to thank you, for shedding some time, to come on the show. And I hope that at some point I jump on a bird there, fly out to Colorado. I've got family out there in Colorado Springs. I don't know how far you are from them,
It's
but
close.
yeah. And
Yeah, it's
so
close.
I'll stop by there, and hopefully we can break bread and maybe even rock a wall together, and yeah, talk about what's occurred since this interview. Who knows?
Yeah, facts. I want one last shout out. My little brother Courts. That's Courts raping Adder. Those are my bros too, man.
What was
Love
his
those
name?
guys.
How you spell it?
Pauts. He's my younger brother.
Okay.
Then my boy Rape TCN, and Adder that always tries to make me positive. Good dude, man.
Cool. All right. Well, with that, I'm gonna go and play some music in the background as we ease out of this interview. Reps, once again, thank you. Thanks a lot for coming on board. Stay safe out there in Colorado, right there by the mountain, the Rocky Mountains. You got a lot, probably some great views.
It's
And
high.
yeah, we'll keep in contact. We'll keep in touch.
I respect.
All right, Juan. Peace out. Take care.